Say what on.
Hey, Shalom. We're the real Hebrew Israelites, come out every week, prophesy the downfall of this kingdom, America, which is called the daughter of Babylon in the Bible, and to teach you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're the Lord's chosen people under this sign, the 12 tribes of Israel, and we want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone Camps for teaching us the truth of the Bible. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered around the world. Shalom.
Shalom. So let's start at Habakkuk 2 and 4. Because we got to talk about faith. We got to talk about the responsibilities behind it and what love actually is. Because if I say, well, I love my job, then the act of loving my job would be showing up every day, right? Showing up every day to take care of it so that I can take care of the truth. So you have to show your love. Just like these garments we made, we didn't have nobody make them. Nobody helped us make. We each made our own garments. That's an act of love. And it was all based on what we believe. Whenever you get
This is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved.
That's the most important part. Read that again.
I will stand upon my watch and set upon the tower.
So the watch that we're standing upon is learning the truth and teaching it. Because love is a two-way street. So this is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, and on page 169 we'll start with the letter F, and it goes into faith. So faith has both an active and a passive sense. In the former meaning fidelity, trustworthiness, and the latter trust, reliance. So before you can trust somebody, they have to be trustworthy, right? Before you can do something, you have to believe that you can do it. Read that one again, please.
I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved.
So this is an ongoing thing. We watched the apostles and the elder brothers teach and reprove us, even though they weren't directly in our presence or each other being in each other's presence. We had to have trust that they were teaching us the right doctrine, right? The right ways of the truth. So that we could teach the next line of prophets to teach the same way. But in this particular point in time, we're teaching to wake up the elect, or the prophets, so that we can get up out of here. Is this bothering you? I'll put it right here. I guess it's to be said. So you see that? That was the act of love. It bothered him, and I didn't say anything like, "Oh well, he's got to deal with it." I moved it. It's a big fucking deal. And even if it didn't bother him, now we don't smell it, but it's doing its job because it's protecting, it's giving the odor to Yahweh. So why I lit that goes into this trustworthiness or fidelity, right? Fidelity means trustworthiness, because I trust that pleases Most High, and we trust that by learning these scriptures the right way, the Most High will, bless us.
That's right, because when you first hear, somebody preach the Bible, you don't know if you could trust them or not. You don't know, you can't trust them if that's the right doctrine or not.
Right. Like when you talk to a girl for the first time, she don't know if she can fucking trust you. You have to build up that trust. You have to warm her up. That's the greatest advice I ever got. Like, cause men, we're fire, and women are water. So naturally, we're all hot and ready, and they're not ready. They're water. They're cool, so they put us out. That's what it happens. But I didn't know that this whole time, and I didn't have what? I didn't have trust in the process. But it really doesn't matter because it's just part of learning. Now the scriptures, that's where we got to learn and apply the trustworthiness. We're building up our fidelity.
Hey, just like this devil, we didn't know who he was, so we trusted him, because he has the whole world hypnotized. So we didn't know, where we were walking.
Yeah. Read that again, please.
Chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved.
So before you start teaching, you have to be reproved. You have to be taught. You're not gonna right away start being a prophet, although that's your lot. You barely started the job, so you have to go through what? Orientation. This is Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? But I bet you that's a spiritual sign right there. That was an Edomite riding in a red car, and it was a Solara. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at that word Solara. Go to the next one.
And Yahweh Bashim Yahushai answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it.
Why would you want to run?
And writing it on the tables, that means back in the ancient world, when they wrote it on the wood, because it was written in stone.
So it says the name Solara is primarily a female name or Latin origin that means of the sun. So that Edomite was in a red car, and Edomites are notorious for being feminine. So that was the sign right there. So you gotta have faith in those signs, because that's why Esau wants to take us out, because we're masculine. And you gotta be masculine to have faith. Go to the next, all the way to the fourth.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie.
This is what is happening. It's speaking. Like we'll tell you, because we'll go into 2 Thessalonians 2, and Apostle Gabar has been going into that a lot, and it'll tell you. Well, I'm done with that. It's important to know who the devil is, who the adversary is. Because you gotta have faith, because these guys are all around us. They're all around us. We don't know who they are. Could be your next door neighbor. Okay, this is 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, and the son of perdition. Brother said, if we tell you Esau is the devil, he's a so-called white man, you look around and then you start seeing so-called white men, and then you start seeing white men that do stuff and then white men that don't do stuff. Like for example, some of these hillbillies, they're Israelites. They have those fucking dancing competitions. Like they're just tap dancing and shit. And then you have other ones that, are heavy metal and headbanging. You can tell that their spirit's not in the right mind. Go ahead.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry.
It will not tarry. So it is coming. Was that the last one?
And then verse 4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith.
So behold, is the man that, read that part again.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
It's not, because he thinks he's all that. But look at Caitlyn Jenner, or what was his name? Bruce Jenner, and he did the whole thing. He changed his name. He went Solara. He went female. Changed his name, changed his plumbing. This place is wicked. So from there, let's go to Matthew 8 and 10.
Matthew 8 and 10. When Yahushua heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel.
So who has a great faith in Israel? Who has a great faith in Israel? All those camps. GMS, and the brothers that teach like GMS. Did you hear how you crowed when I said GMS? So they're telling you the truth, because in the reincarnation we came back. We were those guys that grew up in Jerusalem hearing about the miracles of Yahushua, and then we believed. And then we came back over here. That's how it works. We could be right here, and let's say somebody from the tribe of Issachar passed on. They lived a long life and they passed on, and they're reborn. Where? They're born back in Mexico. They could be reborn in a different part of the world. That Issacharite could wake up looking like a Hawaiian, but still be Issacharite. Read that one again.
When Yahushua heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel.
So what's the faith that we found? That Yahushua is his real name. Yahweh is his father's name. The so-called black men, the angels are so-called black men in chariots and UFOs. That's the greatest news I ever heard. That the Issacharites, Mexicans are Issacharites from the 12 tribes. That's the greatest news I ever heard. So now we have to apply that faith. So now you're showing your great faith by going out and teaching the truth, because you're convicted. And I would look up that word. Convicted means that you believe someone did it. Like you're convicted, you're convinced. So also you have to believe the true color. You have to believe in the true color. You have to believe that the name. And what's the evidence of the name? Well, you can look things up like Gio Giorgiani Grisani or Grisano invented the letter J. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. But look up the father of the J, the letter J. So then you know by applying that to critical thinking, those informations that you got, then you'd say, okay, his name can't be Jesus. Because the letter J is so young. And that's what convinces you to keep going. Then you start studying more and then you find out that his name was said by the Grecians, Isis. And then that the Hebrew Israelites called him Yahushua. Now you have to find out what Yahushua means. He delivered. So then you look in the scriptures, and then in Matthew 1 and 21. But first we're going to talk about Exodus 1:22.
This is Exodus 1 and 22. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born, he shall cast into the river.
So at this point in time, Egypt is being shook up because the Israelites are reproducing at a massive level. Like right now, you see all kinds of Jake everywhere. You as an Issacharite, you can't go down the street without looking at another Issacharite. And who has the lowest population? Edomites. So and then they had us do more tasks. Like what? They took away the straw, and then we had to get our own straw to make the bricks. Then we had to get our own dirt to make the bricks and the straw, and we had to be on time. So you have to believe that happened. And if you believe that happened in Egypt, then you also have to believe that the Egyptians were a certain color, and that Moses, the Israelites, were a certain color. Let's go to Exodus 2, verse 2. Got about 4 more scriptures after this. See, this is what delights me, and I have to work toward it. I'm not thinking about getting sleep. I'm thinking about getting these scriptures out. Make sure that you understand the lesson. Go ahead.
Exodus 2, verse 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
So then this happened in Egypt because this is the father and mother of Moses. Read a couple of scriptures into it.
And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
She hid him 3 months because what's a goodly child? A man child. Look up that word goodly. Because Pharaoh said what? Pharaoh said what? He said throw these children in the river.
Definition for goodly: considerable in size or quantity.
So he was a good sized boy.
Excellent or admirable.
Admirable even. Now some people say he was glowing red. He wasn't glowing red. He was an Israelite. When you're born into the world, people like especially your mom and dad, they're like, oh man, they can tell right away. You know, people even come up and say, oh, that's gonna be a great child. Like in The Godfather, when Luca was giving his compliments to the Don, the Godfather, he said, and I hope that their first child be a masculine child. Right? Go ahead and read the verse.
And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein as she laid in the flags by the river's brink.
Now this is the same river that the babies were being tossed into. The Hebrew Israelite babies that were getting killed at that time. Because it says that they weren't doing it, but some were doing it. Some had to do it. That's what being in captivity is all about. Because Pharaoh will take an ass whipping and stick to your ass, kill you for whatever. Read up to 5.
And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
So she got it. Now she was always looking in there because, you know, they were like taking showers in there, collecting the water. They were always looking in there. They already knew someone's gonna look in there. Read the next one.
And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
So she had compassion on that child. Now what does compassion mean? It means, look, this thing looks like me. I feel a connection with it. Kind of want to protect it. Now what if it was an Edomite baby? Because what happens when Moses put his hand in his bosom and pulled it out, and it was what? Leprous. He got scared. So that Egyptian person would have got scared. Why? Because they were dark skinned, and so was Moses. Moses was dark skinned. So from there, I'm gonna get the rest of it. We'll read Revelation 1 and 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So he had Negro style hair. His hair was woolly. So you gotta believe that. So that's why Yahweh Shai would have said, I haven't found this much faith, not so in Israel. Because after this whole time, 2,000 years and some change, we went without not knowing him. And then someone tells you, the apostles tells you, hey, this is how it looks. Then we're like, our faith just fucking burned up. We get on fire and we start believing it. So you have to believe it. So that was my lesson.
And that was a good lesson too, because it's all about belief, you know. And when you come into the truth, you know, when you come into the doctrine of the Great Millstone Camps, you know, and you come to find out that you're a Hebrew Israelite, you know, you come to find out that you're one of the Lord's chosen people, you know, it doesn't stop there. You know, it don't stop at belief. You know, it keeps going, because we'll get Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
So it said,
Fear God, fear Yahweh.
Yep, fear Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, because he said this is the whole conclusion, meaning this is what it's all about. You know, once you come into the truth, you know, you get taught, but then after you get taught, now you become the teacher. You know.
And that was perfect, because both of the lessons were basically on the same subject. Let me read that one again. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of a man.
Right, so when you hear about that you're a Hebrew Israelite, if you're a man, you got to be a teacher. If you're a woman, you got to be subject to the teachers.
You gotta be a wife.
You know. And then once you wake up, you got to keep watching the Great Millstone videos. You know, and then you got to search the internet and make sure that your belief, you know, is 100%. That your faith is 100%. And then we'll go to Deuteronomy 4:2. Because some people, they wake up to the truth and then they just stop, you know. But you got to keep your head in the scriptures.
Deuteronomy 4:2.
Yep.
Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Alachayanawa, which I commanded you.
So it say, you shall not add unto the word which I command you. And then neither shall ye diminish. You know, so it means you shall not add or take away the word or these commandments. You know, so if you don't know, if you start out and don't know the truth, how many subtractions are you? How many commandments are you subtracting? You know.
So this is Revelation 22:19. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yahweh shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book.
That's right. So once you come into the truth, you got to start learning about the commandments. Once you start learning, then you're going to start adding. You're going to start adding on to what you don't know.
And that's a perfect way to be. Little by little. You know, let's say when you're little and you got a Lego set, Star Wars Lego set. You don't get the starship first. First you get the little things. And then you build the little things, and then you get tired of building the little things. As you get older, you want to get the bigger things, the more difficult things to build. Like the Death Star. Now that's going to be hard to build because it would take a master of Legos to build it. But you weren't a master in the beginning.
And it takes patience too.
Great patience. Because the whole time you're battling demons, man. They get stronger as you get older in the truth, so don't think it's going to be easier. That's why you can't stop doing what you're doing, right? Because when you start lifting weights, you don't stop and then take years off like some people do. You got to keep going, and if you want to keep strong, you want to keep in the same strength.
Yep, that's right. Because if you learn something and then take time off, you're gonna forget about it. You know, you're gonna forget what you learned. You gotta keep the mind like muscle memory.
Yeah, you gotta keep it fresh. You gotta keep it fresh. Like if you play chess, that'll keep you sharp. But if you keep using the same moves over and over, you're gonna get beat. You gotta experience different moves. Like your sermon has to grow. Like what if we just came out and taught that the Lord was a black man? Just every time we came out. People would be like, yeah, we know. But then you gotta accept the other parts. And what makes you think is, okay, if the Lord's the so-called black man, then that would mean that the white man is the opposite, right? So then you move to that level. Start drawing more conclusions. Deuteronomy 4:2. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which I commanded you.
Yeah, so once you learn the truth, don't back away from it, you know, because what you're doing, if you learn the commandments, and you learn that you're a Hebrew Israelite, and then you back away, it's like you're playing with fire.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You know,
Exactly.
because you play with fire, you're gonna get burned.
Yeah. Just like if you have unprotected sex, you're gonna get an STD.
Yeah, you might as well commit suicide. You know, why not just commit suicide? You know,
And if you bust a nut into a woman and you don't get an STD, you're gonna have to pay child support.
yeah, that's going through hell right there.
You gotta think about your actions. Like you're like this is you're drawing the sword. Like you're taking the sword out of the sheath. This is the sword. You're drawing a sword in the enemy's territory. A lot of brothers don't think about that. And it's pretty awesome and scary because the angels are protecting us. But that's literally what we're doing. What did Aaron and Moses do to Pharaoh? They told him, look, you gotta let our people go. Told the king of Egypt, look, you gotta let our people go. Thus said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
With that, we'll go to Matthew 18 and 19, because his brother said that the angels are protecting us. And once you come into the truth, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get defense.
This is Matthew 18 and 19. Again, I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth as teaching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven.
So it says, if two of you agree with, if two of you on earth, you know, speaking to the Israelites, he's saying if two of you agree about everything, read it again.
Again, I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth as teaching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven.
So say if two of you on earth agree